You're good at absolutely everything else, but I think I got the clap down.
If you have the clap, baby, we're in trouble. It's the Jack
And Cathy,
Show.
shit show.
And there we go.
Yeah, how was that?
Okay,
Did you like
I
that
think
one?
I think if yeah.
Okay.
Oh, what a banter! This is banter time. I put in our schedule that we were going to banter. Oh,
Cheers.
cheers! So we are being today's episode. We'll get to it later. Is about goals and goal setting in the future and this year and expectations, etc. So my goal is to be a complete.
Alcoholic?
Nope.
Oh.
Close. We are going to sell our souls to every potential fucking advertiser. So I'd like to start.
You slut.
You corporate
Wait,
slut.
what was that line from Jane,
Jane,
you
you
ignorant
ignorant
slut? SNL. That was
So,
Chevy Chase and
Dan Aykroyd and Gilda Radner.
Dan Aykroyd and Gilda.
Yeah. So what we're going
Okay.
to do before every episode, we're going to be alcoholics. So we're going to do the podcast later. So here's my goals. I'm getting ahead of ourselves a
gonna
little bit. Oh, that's
Catch
right.
on
That's a good
fire,
idea.
am I?
That's a good idea. So one of the things that I'd like to do is to have the podcast be published every Thursday now.
Oh.
Here's why I'm thinking that. Because everyone else is doing work stuff Monday through Wednesday. By
Yeah.
Thursday, you start to wind down. So I'm figuring ours is a wind down podcast. We're not a business podcast talking about tech stocks, etc. We're a fucking waste of time.
We are the antithesis
Yes.
of a tech
We are
business podcast.
We are unintellectuals, to be
We
sure.
we provide zero value.
Zero value. However, we do have sponsors and providers of value in that regard. So
do.
I figured if we do this Wednesday nights, if it doesn't hurt our schedule, or some night before Thursday, we start out with a drink and we have that drink be sponsored by a certain company. So today's bourbon is brought to you by... For those of you on YouTube,
You are
you'll
so funny.
cheers. You can cheers the camera there. This is by Few. This is a bourbon, straight bourbon from Evanston, Illinois. Your brother, my
Yes.
now brother-in-law,
Yes.
brought this over to our house.
It's a cool bottle and a cool
It's really
label,
cool.
I must say. All right.
So we're going to drink bourbon tonight. Cheers.
Cheers, babe.
Who loves you?
You do.
I do. You can't go wrong with a few bourbons by Few. Had a few too many?
That's
no
nice.
such thing. Come on. These are good. Aren't they?
They're good. They're going to be knocking on the door to
When
hire
you're with
you
your
for their
crew,
marketing.
have a few. Bam. Babe, I could knock this shit out all day.
You are on fire, honey.
Hiya. Okay.
You're on
Second thing
fire.
I'd like to talk about is our friend Aaron, also known as Efficient Aaron,
Yes.
got us a candle back there that's a non-flammable.
I have
flammable?
never seen anything like this, and it's really, really
beautiful.
cool.
Yep.
This whole apparatus comes together and it
doesn't
plugs
come off the
in.
table.
It does come off
No,
the
I know,
table.
but I just don't.
But it
wanna-
plugs in,
It does.
and it's a little lamp with different settings that hovers over a candle that can remain actually unlit,
Correct.
and the lamp of the light heats the wax and the scent is emitted.
Beautiful.
So, and it has a timer on it and everything. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Badass.
And different light levels and everything. So
I
it's
can't
really
remember
nice.
the name of the company, but we're going to write them as well and let them know that they are on our set. If you would
It's
like,
really cute.
let's look at the cameras now. If you would like your product promoted and or marketed on the Jack and Cathy Shit Show, our whole entire stage here will just be advertising signs. It's going to look like a minor league
We'll have
ballpark.
stickers on our forehead.
That would be awesome.
We're gonna have little subtle things like I'll cross my legs and there'll be socks that are,
By Doritos.
yes.
There is no price that is too small that we won't take. So whatever you want. I
There's
don't know
no
what to say.
price too small that we
You can
won't
give us a
take.
penny and we'll take it. However, we can make money.
That's
off
another
this
way of
shit show.
saying that we can be bought for cheap.
Yes.
Yes.
For now, until we get to
Or
critical
we can
mass.
say there is no price too
Too
small
low.
that
Too
we
low
won't
that
take.
we won't take. That's
Somebody
another
tried
slogan.
it that
The
phrase.
Jack and Cathy Shit Show. Bought on the cheap. There's no price too small that we won't take from you. In fact, how about we pay you to be on our show? Fucking losers.
Oh my gosh.
That's the banter.
Woo.
So we're going to produce this on Thursdays now, which works
Thursdays, yes.
They gave you the jitters, huh? That little few.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
when you don't know what to do, always try a few.
it's really nice.
You hear what I just said?
When you don't know what to do,
Try a few.
try a few.
I got a bunch of them. It's a great thing to rhyme with. Maybe they'll hire me as their marketing manager. Or maybe not.
Keep dreaming, babe. We're making
Babe,
predictions.
we're
making predictions for 2025.
Speaking of predictions, 5 years ago, I was with my daughter yesterday, as you know, and 5 years ago, I had the kids for my 55th birthday buy me a bottle of Lagavulin, which was one of 300, and it was a relatively expensive bottle. And I told them that this bottle was not to be opened until either I die, so you drink it at my funeral, or we celebrate my 60th birthday by drinking from it.
Yep.
So last night I brought that up with the kids. You know the story already, but it's worth the people's to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought up the fact that, hey, I'm in my 59th year. And my daughter, when I reminded her of I'm either dead and you're drinking or it's going to be my birthday, my daughter goes, can you not, please? And my son-in-law says, either way, we get to drink it this year. Which is great. Thank you, Sam.
Exactly.
It's wonderful stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Didn't know how to say F you to the father of my children and the man who bangs my daughter.
Oh, goodness gracious. Let's just stop shy of that, shall we?
Stop shy.
Mm-hmm.
So so today we're going to talk about goals, but before we get there, I'd like everyone to know that we are officially now part of the Skin Deep promotions. We'll talk about them at the end of the podcast.
Cool.
If you are interested in getting anything from them and you want to help us out in any way, you'll get a 15% discount, which is cool.
That is so fun.
Yep. And if they just write down shit show in the promotion, so shit show, in fact, you can go to theskindeep.com/shit show. And that will get us credit for sending you to the site. And then number 2, if you buy something, put in shit show and you'll get a 15% discount. And we get a little thank you for it.
I think that's so awesome. And I cannot recommend enough that people check out these cards because especially after just getting through the holidays where you spend time with your family and everybody plays games, this is actually a really cool thing to do even when you have your family around and you know, it's just prompts conversations, interesting insights into what that other person is thinking. And if there is somebody special to you, it actually can help you get to know them better. And I think that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
First. It's
awesome.
a really cool way to connect.
It has been a big part of our life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. We use it. Particularly, we use it on the show.
Yeah.
Because it's a big part of our personhood and then the show, of course. So
I agree.
Wanted to get that out of the way.
Cool.
Next, before we get to the big meat of the show.
You are so organized.
It's kind of insane.
Yeah.
And by the way, for those of you watching the podcast, she's playing footsie with me right now. I'm not sure what to do with that, but we'll be right back.
Your handsome shoes next to my fuzzy slipper.
I'm still a little dressed up from the week.
You look really nice,
thank
babe.
You.
You look very handsome.
Feel sexy. Mm-hmm. Okay, so last week was our listener question stuff pre. I was going to say 4th of July, pre New Year's Eve, New Year's Day.
Yep.
Okay?
End of the year.
Yep. And my son Sam
Questions from listeners
was a little bit bummed because he submitted his question to us late. In fact, it's funny. He sent me a text saying, I just listened to all hour and 8 minutes. I didn't hear my fucking question. And I went, well, you sent the question.
But it got him to listen.
I know. It was great, right?
That's
He
so
never
cool.
listens. So he listened to the podcast hoping to hear his question. And so I feel like telling him we're going to play his question at the end of the episode. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
To make him listen
no, you know what
to
he'll
a
do?
second
He'll just
podcast.
fast forward to the end.
Yeah, he will.
Right, you can do that now. It's not like you got to pay attention to the whole thing. So let's get to Sam's question. He had a year-end question. There's a movie, Bull Durham, that I introduced him to when he was 10. Very inappropriate for a father to introduce his son to the game. or to the movie at that age.
Well, it was a baseball movie, so you thought you were on theme with your
No, I knew
your
what I
son.
was doing.
Yeah.
There was an opening scene where one character's having sex with a chick in a bathroom.
And
And
you showed
so-
him that.
Well, I figured he's gonna want to do that one day himself.
Oh boy.
So anyway, Bull Durham is one of our favorite movies, Sam's and mine. And in a scene at the end of Bull Durham, he breaks a record, does all this stuff, but he's relegated to being a minor league ball player. And he's like, look, I'm just done. I've been chasing this shit forever. I've been to the big leagues once. And he's kind of talking to Susan Sarandon, Kevin Costner's character is, and he goes, I just want to be done with stuff. I don't want to do anything. I just want to be. Okay, I just want to be for the moment. So Sam writes this question. Ready? I'd love if you guys talked about freedom from expectations in both life and relationships, kind of like I Just Want to Be from Bull Durham. Your turn.
Freedom from expectations. What else was it? Freedom from.
Let me get the glasses on.
Yeah.
Freedom from expectations in both life and relationships.
Do we ever stop having expectations of life and relationships? I don't know, to be honest. I think what he's getting at is that you and I have found each other. So we have this huge exhale that we have found our person. We've settled into that. We're releasing the chase of trying to find our partner in life. And that's what I think that he's getting at. Because the truth is, I definitely have expectations of life and of this relationship. And I think we have them of each other in how we show up. And I have an expectation of how I want our relationship to go moving forward, continuing where we are. Does that make sense? But I think he's thinking like, okay, you and I are, basically almost 60. We're still working, but retirement's around the corner. We've settled into this house. We have each other. We have certain things that are, boxes that are checked, right? How about you? How do you read that?
Way different.
Yeah, do share.
I do like your perspective, mostly because I never thought that's where you were going to go. I think I lean a lot in my answer upon this movie scene. So I know the movie so well, and what Kevin Costner is playing. Kevin Costner is playing. Stop. What Kevin is saying.
Outside Jack.
In that particular scene, he's exhausted from chasing stuff. He's exhausted from trying to make the major leagues. He's exhausted from trying to set the home run record in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
He's always the chase. And what's the next thing? And he just wants to be and exist. So I find it interesting that you parallel us as if our chase, so to speak, or finding one another is kind of over, and that we can just breathe. And I agree with you. Am I getting too long-winded? I always do anyway.
Not at all.
I agree with you that we never really stop having expectations or wanting to pursue things. However, how I interpret it is, this is my interpretation clearly, is living in the moment. And that's what just being is.
Yeah.
It's just living in the moment.
Yeah.
And my feeling is when he asked the question, how do you create freedom from expectation in life and relationships? I don't know that you never stop. I think you should always still drive for things and experience things and learn things. I'm a big fan of risk taking, right? Like try shit. It's one of my favorite passages I ever saw from a receptionist who was at an office I worked at when I was 26. She had a little plaque on her desk that said, "Life isn't a dress rehearsal." And I loved that. I've never forgotten it. And so my ability to break free from expectations in life and relationships is I'm going to do everything I can to get there, but I'm not going to watch the scale.
Yeah.
right? I'm going to go work out. I'm going to eat right. And I'm going to lose weight because I'm doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
And watching the scale isn't going to affect that,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm going to get in better shape because of that, for example, health-wise. I'm going to show up as my authentic self with my partner.
Yeah.
And then just see where things go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to learn every day to be better, which is what I want to talk about next in a second.
Sure.
That's how I viewed it.
Yeah.
And that would be my advice is live
Yeah.
in that moment. Keep driving forward and being persistent and patient and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And also when you're in it, like today we were at the recording studio. And,
Yeah.
I was having a ball. Like every minute of just singing the songs we were doing we were only there an hour and a half.
Yeah. Yes. To your point, I can't ever imagine not striving towards something.
Yeah.
Right.
Hence
And I think
the podcast topic today.
yes, right.
Yeah.
And about our predictions and goals for 2025. I do think because, Sam is 23 and he's just starting out on so many of those journeys, right? The relationships and the work and all of that life it has in store for him.
Yeah.
And we don't ever stop setting goals. You and I talk about our goals together. And we have goals and expectations for this house, for our careers, for retirement, for each other, for this podcast, for our health. Let's drink to that.
Clink.
Ching. So
I think it leads to the next piece that I want to talk about. So thank you.
mm-hmm.
Often, so we remodel stuff, as you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take a look at Cathy's post, the Cathy Riley at Instagram, we gutted our final project of this house, which is our master bathroom.
Oh my gosh, the last project.
And I am I'm a very anxious worker. Not that I get nervous, I want to get it done.
Yeah.
And so I get into overdrive mode, which means I'm up at 5, go to bed at 4. And I've got a motor and an engine that can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge is that I expect everyone else should have that same motor too.
Yes.
And so
yes.
To kind of tie to Sam, it's interesting, his question, I think, do you feel that it ties together?
I think I can see
where I'm going
how
with
you're
this?
going to thread that together.
Like, how do you just be
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and yet have expectations at the same time? How do you
Mm-hmm.
create that, is that dynamic?
Mm.
So we went to go tear apart the bathroom. We had hired someone who didn't show up on Thursday of last week.
Yeah.
A week ago from, this podcast is being recorded on Wednesday.
Right.
Guy didn't show up, was supposed to, was late. We decided, fuck it, we're going to have the boys, your son, my son, help out with the physical labor. Because they're also looking for work. They're young. They're right out of school.
Yeah. So when the guy we were set to hire didn't show up and was unresponsive, we moved on within a couple hours, took our cues from that no response and made a new plan and decided both our boys need cash. They can probably swing a hammer at a wall and break it.
It's demo. They were doing demo, to be sure.
And so they both said, count me in.
Right.
So we let the other guy loose.
Yeah. Right. So therein starts the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because now my schedule is off.
Yeah.
I was relying on someone else to do it. Now I'm going to have to be the one doing the physical labor. I know how to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was going to pay someone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to be patient with two people that don't know how to do it. Your son's never used a Sawzall, or rarely. My son doesn't like to use it, et cetera, and so on. The list goes on, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So instantly my anxiety was filling up.
Yeah.
And so you and I are going over stuff, but I'm kind of pointing the finger at you. Why aren't you up early? What are we doing going to the club? We've got shit to do. You should have been up earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So full stop, press pause. The universe works in amazing ways. That same morning, I was watching an Instagram post about this couple that I follow. I wish I could remember the names. I can't right now. Because, I dig that shit. Couple relationship stuff.
Yeah.
And in watching it, this woman talked about how she and her husband went through therapy to fix their relationship, and now they're great, and they have ton of followers as they talk about their relationship and all the things they've learned, but she progressed faster than him. Mm-hmm. And she said for a while she was throwing that shit back in his face. Yeah. Well, you're just not there yet.
Are those her words?
Yeah.
Throwing that shit back in his face?
Yeah, she was throwing it back in his face.
Yeah.
She's saying, you haven't caught up to me yet. You're not quite there yet.
She read the books. She did this.
Well, they both did, but she just dove in harder.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When she had free minutes, that's all she occupied her time with. He had other things going on, but he was making progress in his way.
Right.
So oftentimes when we have arguments, you and I,
yeah,
I'll sit here and say things. You're like, well, see, when I went through therapy, I did the following things. And you haven't quite learned this yet. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so when she said that
which always lands well.
Yes.
We always, you know what's funny is you and I
always look off camera.
Pretend, even when there is no camera, we'll do one. That. We'll go. And now there actually is a camera.
Now you have a third camera. Right. Now you have multiple cameras so you can.
It's fucking awesome.
Do that with. Right. What she acknowledged was that she was not being patient with whatever timeline he was on and not understanding that he was making progress in his way. Mm-hmm. So I saw that and it made me pause for a second because what it was really saying is she's not fully developed yet. Her picking on him means she couldn't control the situation, so she had to go back to work, but she would just rather he figured it out, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm watching this going, motherfuck. And then you and I get into a fight. I shouldn't say fight. That sounds aggressive. We get into a disagreement.
We got into some tension.
Yeah, because I was frustrated. This fucking guy didn't show up.
Yeah.
I now have to do the work. I didn't want to do the work. And now I'm even by myself. And so I got to blame you because you're not up early enough with me starting this.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And so you said, would you prefer I just be more like you? Mm-hmm. And I went full fucking stop. Remember? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I went like a record. If I had the sound effect. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. And what I'm getting at, tying it back to Sam, is it made me say, I've got a goal of getting the house done. I've got an expectation of getting it done. But wait a minute. We're going on vacation in 2 weeks. Ready for this? When it comes to predictions, we're worried about where the real estate market's going to be with this new administration coming up, right?
Yep.
So we're concerned about those things.
Yeah.
So all that's swirling, right? And then my brain went, I'm in control. Cathy's right. Let's make this fun. Time is arbitrary right now. We'll get the house done in time. We're not going to list it. If we do, it's maybe April, May anyway. Mm-hmm. We're fine. Mm-hmm. Breathe. Mm-hmm. So I want Sam, if he's listening, to hear. I hope he paid attention to all this. So when he says, how do you just be? It's a conscientious thing to be able to turn that clock off.
Yeah.
You and I are not emergency room doctors, right?
We are not saving lives.
No.
On a daily basis.
Events that affect us are arbitrary.
Yeah.
For some things, right?
Yeah.
Not everything. I'm not diminishing feelings. I hope you hear that. Mm-hmm. It just was an interesting experience for us. Your thoughts?
It's quite profound that you circled back around to this tension we had between us and had this epiphany, self-driven epiphany, that's what was going on in that moment. And I feel in those moments rather helpless to make a shift in those conversations.
What do you mean by that? Explain what you mean by that.
Like, I'm aware of, I describe it, I can see, and I'm sure you can too, when the tsunami in our relationship is approaching the shore, like the wave goes out, you're like, oh, fuck. Look at all that beach that was just revealed. Something is going to be rolling in a second. Yeah. And that's the way it feels. I'm like, tension, anxiety is high, stress is high. Yeah. Here it comes. And I feel like, okay, I can see it's coming. Approach it differently, Cathy. Make sure you don't get defensive about something. Make sure you're dealing with the facts. Make sure you're doing what you can to listen to Jack and make sure his feelings are heard and his stress is understood. I don't want to tell you not to stress, but I really do struggle with what is the right thing for me to do here to help the situation.
Because part of you wants to maybe say, dude, chill the fuck out.
Part of me wants to go, Jack, fucking chill.
Right.
We got this, okay?
Right.
But that can, if the moment's not right, the other person's not ready to hear that.
Yeah, don't
and
tell
then
me
you
how to
feel
feel.
like
Right.
your feelings, your thoughts and
Yeah.
anxiety are just dismissed,
That's
right?
That's right.
And so somehow we got through that. I think truly because my son Sam showed up. Your Sam was busy working and stuff, so he wasn't able to make it on the same days. But my son was there to help on two different days, and I think that his presence, as I think if anybody else was present, like your Sam too, was almost a calming effect for both of us because it became
Oh yeah.
this
That's a good way to say it.
neutral party that was sort of watching, if you will.
Yeah.
You know how we joke when the camera's rolling, you
Yeah.
and I get on our best behavior
Oh yeah.
with each other.
That's why I think it'd be hilarious if we actually had a camera 24/7.
Yeah, we'd probably
Fucking
fool everybody.
No, at one point we just fucking explode.
We're in a fist fight.
Motherfucker!
Fuck you. No, fuck you.
We never do that.
No, we don't.
We never. But that would be fun to do that on camera.
It would just be a joke.
Yes,
It would just be kidding.
Why you really love that third camera right now? You
Yeah,
just
I
wanna be
really
a child.
do. So it's really, really cool that you heard something separately. You weren't even seeking out answers to that situation, but you had your own little epiphany on it.
Yeah.
And that you bring it up to talk about it, and you have always said that you are incredibly self-aware, that is your superpower, is how self-aware you are.
And my kryptonite is that I don't do anything about it.
Well, you are though. You are
I am.
right
You're
now, right?
Yeah.
You are. And you were noticeably calmer through this whole process because you and I have demoed a whole bunch of stuff before.
of stuff.
Time to look in the camera again. Yeah, you give your exhale. And every time we've had tense moments.
Yeah.
It has gotten to the point
But
where
not this
I'm
one.
like, I don't fucking want to remodel a house anymore.
A little
You
bit,
know?
but not this one, right?
No, not this one.
And what's interesting is I called you on the drive home from Chicago.
Yeah.
And we have plumbers coming on Friday. The house is gutted, so they can see everything, but we've got a 4-inch.
The room is gutted.
The room's
except
gutted.
for the
Everything's
floor.
ready to go.
Not the floor is not gutted.
Yeah. The bathroom shower pan has 4 inches of concrete poured there, and we have to plow that out. And I said, well, let's get this. Talked about even getting it done tomorrow. And then right in the car, I went, wait a minute. We're not in a hurry. Let's have the plumber come out and talk about what they would recommend doing in this particular circumstance. Because maybe we're just getting ahead of ourselves and there's no rush. But my instinct is to come home. You know what I'm going to say, right? Put on my work boots. Put on my goggles.
You wanted to come home, do the podcast, and then go out and rent a drill tool and
break up the concrete.
take a whack at the floor and see what we're dealing with.
So to be fair, you know this about me. When I had my house in Illinois and fixed it up, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I would come home at night, do work like this, and go, fuck it, time to crank.
Yeah.
It felt good to press pause.
Yeah.
And to just, as Sam would like to say, to tie this up, be. Just be.
Yeah.
Just be.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope he connects and hears all of this.
Yeah.
That it's a conscious choice to say, I'm going to now pump the brakes for a second. I'm going to choose how I'm going to spend my emotional dollars, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think, thank you for that. And thank you for recognizing and identifying the emotion that was going on within you. Because I truly sometimes feel helpless with that.
Yeah, I get it.
And if you have recommendations for me as to how to handle it when I see you twisting,
Spiral,
you're starting to spiral.
You're welling up right now.
I am.
Yeah, stop
I
it.
am. Yeah.
Stop it.
It's okay. Get it used to it. This is Cathy Riley.
Babe, I've been with you forever. Let me get used to it.
My eyes water for no reason.
Thank you for
I'm very grateful.
And by the way,
for that.
moving forward, if you want to go, dude, would you fucking chill? Because I can hear it now differently.
That's not me though.
It's not you, and I can hear it. Anyway, we crushed this. So when we get back, do you feel we can close the door on this? You good, or do you want to keep going?
No, I'm good. That was really great. So thank you.
Yeah, it was nice to go through all that stuff.
That was huge.
When we return, we're going to go through 2025 predictions, which is kind of stupid. I don't know what we're going to predict, and goals, because it seems like every
Okay.
podcast does that. We're going to talk
Okay.
about goals, okay?
Okay.
When we return, just so you know, I got another tagline: me, you, and a bottle of few.
Oh, golly.
Dude, I could do this all day. All day. We'll be right back. Hey, it's Jack from the Jack and Cathy Shit Show.
And I'm Cathy. If you've ever wondered how Jack and I stay connected,
It's definitely not my cooking.
correct. It's the Skin Deep. They're the ultimate resource for meaningful connection with products like the And card decks, interactive journals, and conversation starter kits for families, couples, and friends.
And don't forget their YouTube channel full of raw, honest conversations with real people. It's inspiring and a great reminder that we're all just trying to figure it out.
As fans of the shit show, commonly known as shitheads, you get something special. Go to theskindeep.com/shitshow and
Easy for
use
you to say.
shit show at checkout to get 15% off everything.
That's right, 15% off their incredible products just for you, our fellow shitheads. Whether you're deepening connections with your partner, your friends, or gearing up for that in-law dinner, they've got you covered.
So check out theskindeep.com/shitshow. Use code shitshow and start talking it out. Who knows? You might even enjoy it.
The Skin Deep, making connection less awkward, one question at a time. Okay, here we are.
All right.
All right, so I sent you
Yeah, you sent me
a little bit of homework.
Yes.
All right.
You said to make 3 predictions and to identify 3 goals.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
You don't like this.
I.
I think that's
It's
the bottom
hard
line.
for
You
me
don't
to
like it.
pin down stuff. I mean,
You kind of like are, dude, whatever comes, dude, it's good for a lot of
maybe
things.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's. Yeah.
Let me see if I can allay your concerns and fears. So let's talk about
Okay.
predictions first, about things that we think could happen this year, either with regard to business, our health, life, the country, whatever. So I'm going to go first.
Okay.
And you and I are Democrats, to be sure, though we're not extreme. And I don't want to fucking hear left, right extremism shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we are both concerned about this new administration. And for those, and we have earned the right to say this because it's our podcast, and we've earned the right to hear feedback about people that say it. But if you're going to respond in YouTube and all that kind of shit and just be a douchebag about it, I'm not going to reply back to you,
There's
right?
always going to be douchebags.
Yeah, so I'm just-
comes
I'm-
with the territory.
It does. I'm just not going to respond.
Yeah.
I don't have time
Right.
for it. You want to have discussion? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to know someone's point of view. I feel we're going to have a little bit of a freaky year next year because of the goofball that's going into office.
Mm-hmm.
He's already talking about wanting to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah, he wants to name it the Gulf of America now because he feels that it's ours. And I think he does this shit just to fuck with people. But after a while, it's annoying, right?
Yeah.
So my prediction is I think we're going to see a little bit of chaos in the first half of the year. But I also feel he's going to die in office. And I'm not suggesting something happened to him. I think he's 78, going to be 79 years old soon. I don't know that he's going to have his wits about him the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one prediction. Second
Okay.
prediction, I think we're going to have an amazing year. You and I.
Yeah.
I do feel like anything in life over 12 months, something bad is going to happen. Some things that are uncomfortable, that happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do feel we're going to thrive.
Yeah.
I have never felt more positive about anything in my life than I do with you. So I'm not sure what it means. I just feel we're on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
These are my 2 predictions. And my third one is that I'm not going to be working for my current employer. So anyone watching this right now, if you're hiring a really, I would say very attractive, smart, young,
Because it's always what you
heart.
put at the top of the resume.
I feel we're going to have an interesting career year. I do. Things seem to be turning toward us. It's not going to be without challenges, and we will still have to work.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not done, and I like working. I certainly like working on this with you.
Yeah.
Those are my 3 things that popped into my head. So
Yeah.
you and I are going to have a good year experiencing things. We're going to Costa Rica, maybe do a 14er this year, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think the country's going to go through some fuckity fuck with fuck who's running things right now, are going to run things. Hopefully we can get past it
Yeah.
and it doesn't serve as a detriment. And I think career-wise, we're going to step into some pretty interesting things. So those are mine. Yours.
Yes, I did not have 3 predictions. I struggled trying to think of stuff. The first one that came to mind, well, first and second, the only 2 I came up with pretty much piggyback what your predictions were. Okay. One prediction was Jack finds a new job.
Yay.
Yes. So that is for sure. It's on your heart.
Yeah.
It's on your mind.
Yep.
And Jack Honar is someone that when he's hyper focused on something, that shit gets done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you've already been working on that. You've been like making headway, paving roads with different contacts.
Yep.
So that was one prediction.
Very nice.
Which is kind of exciting. Because clearly your job change affects me
us.
too, right?
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it, for you and for us. And if it takes us on an adventure, sign me the fuck up, right?
Agreed.
So I know that if I would happen to land in a different city or something, I will figure it out, So, and then the other prediction was based on work. Now, a little devil in the back of my head, because I'm in real estate, as
That's
we've
your
established.
trigger, though, talking.
That's a little trigger for me is again, tying into what you said. I don't know what this year is going to be like in real estate. One, because it is very much affected by what's going on in the economy and our interest rates, right? It correlates directly
interest rates went
to
up,
my industry.
Yeah, 30-year loans went up.
Yes. So that is a challenge.
Yep.
Secondly, I think I just worry about making money to begin with. So that's the other.
No, that's the
part.
devil
That's
that
the other
you
devil
give too much credit sometimes. Yes.
But there is still this optimistic glass is fucking half full, and it is a sweet cocktail.
Because you got me.
Yeah, because I got you. I feel
got
confident about the future. I feel good about whatever happens in the external noise of life.
That's right.
I know that I will continue to show up and show up authentically. See, this is Cathy Riley. I'm getting teary again, but
Tear
it's
up.
just because it's emotional. It's not because I'm sad.
No, I get it.
Or anything
Babe,
like that.
You act like I don't know you.
I have very active tear ducts.
Yeah, that's it. You have active tear ducts.
Yeah, some people can get through conversations and not cry. I talk about something emotional in my...
That's not an active tear duct. That's being a sensitive person.
You're
a feeling person. That's okay.
Yes, I am. So I still feel like we're both going to have really great and interesting work years. So that's what I thought of when you had the prediction question. In terms of goals,
let's hold on before we get there. Can I jump in with that?
Yeah.
So a guest that we're going to have on the show is a friend of mine, John Fox, and he's going to try to be on the show, I think maybe next week, which I'm excited about, or maybe in a couple weeks. But anyway, he said something about the podcast because he's listened to ours.
Oh.
And it ties to what you just said about goals and how I feel about goals for us and for me. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get there in a second. And this is where I want to start with. He said in his marriage, he never had a cheerleader. So he was married for a number of years like us.
Yeah.
And you and I don't often or rarely go down the path of talking about our exes, and I'd like to go down it a little bit. Mm-hmm. We each did not have cheerleaders.
Right.
And I don't want to conflate cheerleading with abject support or fealty. Okay?
Fealty. Give me the definition of
just
fealty.
bending the knee and giving in to whatever that person wants.
Oh, okay.
We don't treat each other as though we're royalty and I'm kissing the ring of the king. Okay?
Well, I'm working on that.
Got it? Yeah. Camera. So cut. Yeah, cut. I feel for goal setting, it's important that we start here, if this is okay with you, that the beauty of our relationship is the support for one another.
Yeah.
And I've said this to you before, and it's going to sound weird for people listening or watching, but I mean this. If either one of us feels that to expand our personal lives, we need to do something that may not be beneficial to the relationship, I support that. If you need to go on some sojourn or journey to find yourself, so to speak, I do not want to be an impediment to that.
Yeah.
And that feels rewarding to me to share that with you. And I know you feel the same way about me.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean having an affair, being with other people.
Oh, it doesn't?
It doesn't. And you love the fucking third camera. It's killing me right now.
You can cut all these together.
Oh, I can't. But you get that, right?
Yeah.
We both agree that we are each other's cheerleaders. So when it comes to goals, I feel goals are easily attainable or more easily attainable because we each support combined goals. Like you and I wanted to do 14ers, for example.
Yeah.
And individual goals, me wanting to be in a band.
Yep.
Again.
Yep.
So John just said he was impressed in listening to our podcast about how much we are cheerleaders for one another. Because you and I will both agree we did not have that
Correct.
before.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think that's lovely, and it feels good that somebody heard that in us.
Yeah.
You know.
But you were the one that actually said the words cheerleader. And that's what he picked up
Did
on.
I? How smart am I?
No. We both looked at the camera. The fuck?
Those third cameras are creating
God, I really want us to do it.
it.
I want a reality show of us. Because we would never do anything except look at the camera. All right. Let's dive into this. Let's dive into goals. And
Goals.
so I want to start here because I know you were, can I use the word struggling a little bit with how to come up with goals?
Predictions were harder. The goals,
Oh, really?
The goals
Okay.
were kind of what's on our.
Okay. So I'm going to post pictures of these online
Okay.
when we create the event. But on New Year's Day with our friends Aaron and Ron, we spent the night at their house after celebrating New Year's Eve with them.
Yeah.
And then the next day, Aaron said, hey, let's do vision boards.
Yeah.
And I've got, if they listen to the podcast, which they don't, but they should, I've got a special gift for them coming next week.
Yes.
So we put together vision boards.
We did.
And relative to goals, I thought it'd be important for you and I to just talk about, I feel this is not New Year's resolution stuff, though it comes across that way. You can do this anytime.
I've never made New Year's resolutions.
Yeah,
Have you?
No, I like that Aaron said, let's create a vision board. And it made me feel connected to something. If at the very least I look at this piece of paper and it reminds me of what I said was important.
Yeah.
Right. And these can change over time, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So I'd like to start with you if you're cool with it. And if you want to use your vision board as the foundation for discussion, but let's just talk about goals.
Yep.
And the only thing I asked of you in the notes was think of something that you can change daily, meaning I'm going to exercise more, I'm going to read more, whatever that is. Things I can do quarterly, like slightly bigger goals. And then things by the end of the year, I want to say I checked a couple of big boxes, like things that are really important. So it means I might need more time to do these things. So I'd like you to try to think in that kind of perspective. What's something I can, and by the way, as you think of it, that thing that's daily can be something really simple. Like I'm going to make the bed every day, right? Every morning I'm going to wake up and make my bed. And I know that sounds trivial, but at the end of the year, if you made your bed 350 out of 365 times, it's 90 something percent. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going with this. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Do you feel like diving in first, or how do you want to do this?
I'll do my best to categorize them the way you're saying, like daily, quarterly, annually is kind of what you're saying. It's like, yeah.
And maybe in a few
Small,
months
medium,
from
big
now,
picture.
sometime in April, we sit down and go, hey, how are we doing with things? And we touch base with one another, right? So go ahead.
I guess I thought of my goals as almost all beginning at the same time. Like they're all, I'm pressing play on all of them at all times.
How's that feel?
Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but how does it feel? Because you don't know what 6 months are going to look like.
Of course not.
Yeah.
We never do, right?
Well, I do.
We never have that. Yeah. Who are you talking to? Let's not make that face again, okay? Okay. Yeah, take that one off the list.
Okay.
Austin Powers.
Go.
Finger biting. So I have my vision board. First of all, I think it's kind of fun that mine is
The only
horizontal.
the only one.
And mine is the only one of the four of us. Mine is horizontal. Isn't that
Correct.
interesting?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I find
Nothing
it
at
interesting
all, however it's
somehow.
interesting.
So my vision board is very much about you and I, even though yours isn't. Just kidding.
I'm still staring off
So
camera.
there is a lot of you and I on here. So I've got a truck pulling a camper.
So you want to go to monster truck events?
I've got a retired couple sitting on a bench, which represents you and I in retirement. And ironically, you have the same exact
It's
photo
crazy,
of the
isn't
same people on yours.
It's crazy.
I have the words to love on there. I have a waterfall in the mountains, which represents, you and I going to the mountains, which we both have said on date one. One of our questions was
mountains
beach or
beach.
mountains. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we both said hands down mountains.
Yeah.
A couple walking in the woods, which represents hike. I
And
have
had
the words.
same fucking thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Crazy.
I have the words power couple,
Can I interrupt
wellness.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yes.
We had probably 15 magazines strewn across this coffee table or table
Yeah.
that we were working from. And for you and I to pick near identical pictures is freaky.
I know. Couple.
By the
of
way, I
them.
finished my bourbon already. Right?
You've got problems.
One too few is not enough.
There's more where that came from. One too few is not enough.
You like that?
Oh my gosh, you're so funny.
So good.
Travel experiences, exercising, opt outside, creative pursuits, wellness, dream more, learn more. All of this I connect to you and I. All of it.
Yeah, it's a lot of burden for me to manage.
Get used to it.
See what I did? You said get used to it, and I went like that.
Oh, yeah. Who likes the third camera now?
Loving it.
So yeah, that's a big part of where I see. You better not leave me anytime soon because
is your goal for us to
fucking
just
need you.
spend time together? Is that really what you're saying?
Oh, I
That's
love spending time with you.
Yeah.
Like you're so much fun.
Yeah.
I want to spend a lot of time with you. Like everything we do.
What's wrong with you, by the way?
I just like you, Jack.
Okay.
Then I have some work stuff on here. I have success. I have finances thrive in 2025. Secure future. I have the words selling and working. So I have goals to spend more time in the office. So that's in terms of, I think that's part of me giving myself a little more structure to my days. Is spending at least 3 days going into the office. I think that's how I will engage and get stuff done.
Yeah.
I recognize that in myself. I have always had a career that did not have structure.
Yeah. Do you mind?
So it's very different to
Do you mind
give myself structure.
Did you know that you just assigned a small task? Do you realize you did that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Like
Yes.
I just want to get to the office 3 times a week.
Yes.
That's fucking great.
That's on that,
And it's
that
easily-
immediate daily goal.
And think about it. So when I used to be a coach, one of the things I used to try to tell people is if you could create little things that create little victories, it's just like death by 1,000 cuts, right? Where someone's nagging at you all the time. That can be have such a profound negative effect. The positive effect is if you can also then just do little things.
Yeah.
Like make your bed every day or put your shoes away. I know I'm being silly. Or hang up your coat when you come home in the wintertime. And say every day I'm going to try to do this. Then 30 days pass. You're like, holy fuck, I'm hanging up my coat all the time. And it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
So do you realize how it's very, do you agree? I hope you agree with what I'm about to say. It's relatively easy to get up, get ready for work, and head over to the office. And by the way, it doesn't mean you have to be at 9 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever. But you can get to the office at 10 o'clock, work for a few hours, and now you do that 3 times a week, right? Times 52 weeks, 150 times a year.
Yeah.
Right? You're at the, whatever that math is, you're at the office.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So anyway,
So that's
do you get that?
one of the
That's a nice-
short-term
yeah.
goals. Yes. So prompted by my
Good for
vision
you,
board.
by the way.
That's
Is that
what
weird
I
to
see.
say that?
No.
Oh, proud
Thank
of you.
And then just going back to my vision board, I have a set of babies on there, and then I have a brother and a sister when they were young. So that kind of represents our future with grandchildren. We have one right now, and
Al and Sam are pregnant. I didn't want to tell you.
shut up, they are
Okay.
not. And
Maybe they could be.
they could be.
Because I'm looking at the third camera.
And then this little one of this older sister, younger brother, kind of represents my children and just how they're a part of my heart. They can't not
Is
be
your
on a vision
takeaway
board.
family stuff?
I think the takeaway is people I love.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Can
so
that-
much a part of this.
Can I continue to jump in? I know this is newish for you. What do you think of making that a quarterly goal? So at least once a quarter, we invite family over for breakfast or dinner. I know it sounds.
I
that's
love
4
that.
times a year. It's nothing.
Yes.
4 times a year, we say,
Agreed.
hey, we're gonna have a.
Yeah.
Or what if it's monthly? 6
Yeah.
times, 12 times a year, every
Yeah.
other month.
Yeah.
We're having Sunday breakfast.
Yeah. I loved that Sunday that we had my parents over after they
fucking
went
great.
to church, and then we played
Played
euchre
euchre.
and ate popcorn and had a beer.
So
that was really fun.
Do you feel that's something we could try to do every
Absolutely.
like once a month?
Part of the goal that I want for us, so I have a really big picture that covers the background quite a bit.
It's me
is
naked.
a beautiful room.
Beautiful room.
A beautiful, great room,
Yeah.
and it's all designed so that not only means to me that we have our house finished.
Yeah.
It represents that we are in this beautiful space, which is important to me because I love designing and
Yeah.
creating beautiful
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
But it also means that you and I are finished with those tasks, and now we are doing more of the invitations. Like, we've been gutting so many
I get it.
things that you can't always entertain and be spontaneous because you have this massive house project at
Yeah,
hand.
I get it now.
And so the fact that we are really close in this first quarter to putting house remodeling behind us. Houses never end, mind you. We will forever have little projects to
Sure.
do, but we won't have a room to gut.
Yeah.
We won't have a backyard to turn upside down.
Right.
We're just kind of adding and embellishing from this point, which is just going to be fun.
Yeah.
But it gives us more time to what you said, is doing more entertaining and bringing our loved ones and our friends into our space and being able to entertain. So I love that. So that is what that represents.
Very
that
cool.
space. So, and then there are a few things about my own personal strength and wellness. So there's this chick who's doing a lunge and holding a weighted ball, and the word wellness again. And so that represents my desire, my goal to continue to be strong. As I get older, I am definitely feeling like staying strong. And by strong, I don't just mean walking on a treadmill or taking a walk. I mean like fucking lifting weights.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, like getting more muscle tone
Yeah.
and agility. And that's definitely a longer term goal.
Okay.
So there you go. How is that?
That's
How'd I do?
great. What would be one thing that a year from now, when we're doing our year-end review, because I'm going to go back and listen to this episode, what's one thing you'd like to say happened? You experienced, you did, you accomplished. What's one big thing that may take a little bit longer, a little bit heavier lifting? It could be career, personal. It could be relational. It could be personal growth. Is there something that jumps out at you as I want to say at the end of the year I did this thing?
Well, you mentioned the first thing that popped into mind, and you inspired it, not surprisingly.
Nudity.
You came in, well, you already have that.
No.
You came into the house today saying that Alex and Sam would like to do a 14er with us.
Love that.
And I would like to see if any of our other children would like to join us.
Love that. And by the way, I was talking to John Fox about 14ers that he's done, and I thought I had always had a goal when I was a coach to take a bunch of people, or not take, but ask a bunch of people to join us. So we had a big collective going on a 14er, because how much fun would it be to be surrounded with people?
I
There's
would
something
like
very
to
touching.
also
I'd love
invite
to,
Aaron and Ron. I've
Yeah, I
talked
know
to Jenny and John about it.
Yeah, I know they would do it. I don't know that Dennis and Carol would. I
I
will
would
tell you,
invite them
having climbed
still.
it and done it, it's really,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like quite a feat.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be a big thing then
I
for us, huh?
and it's a big thing because it requires training. It requires a
Yeah,
commitment to
something.
training.
Yeah,
That's not a small thing. So,
yeah,
you've trained for events before. You've trained for
yeah.
your 14ers. I've trained for marathons in the past.
How much fun would it be to start
So
climbing that hill by Whitnell?
absolutely,
Right? Like get up when it's
absolutely.
warmer out in the morning, you just start running up that thing. Well, hiking, walking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Multiple times. I
very cool.
love that.
Yeah, very cool.
And I would like to create a training schedule because
Love it.
I like training schedules. I would like to share that with everybody that we are inviting.
Love it.
And then
Babe, you're fucking
set
crushing
the
it right
date
now.
set the date for it.
Nice.
And if they participate, great. If they don't, they
Fuck 'em.
don't.
Oh, don't.
But we are
Hear what I said?
well, we're not going to
You
hold
are
anybody.
welling up like fucking crazy today. What's going on with you?
It's the bourbon. It makes me. Ah.
I don't have a rhyme for crying with few. I'm trying to come up with something that's really clever about crying. When you're in a mixed stew,
No,
try
but-
some crew. That doesn't make sense.
What?
When you're a
No, it
bag of
doesn't.
mixed
You were just
stew.
fired from this new job.
Well, why would we ever promote crying with drinking? I'm not crying. You're crying.
So anyway,
That's cool stuff.
That's a big goal. Like if we did a 14er in August, we would need to start training at least 3 months in advance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool stuff.
All right.
You rock.
You go.
Mine are
Your
simple.
turn.
Mine's very simple. You can guess.
Go ahead.
Guess. Yes, it's sex. Just lots and lots of sex. And on that note, everybody.
You're trying to set new goals, honey. You've already achieved that
Oh,
one.
that's my girl. Giving it, like we like to say. Okay. I hope Aaron and Ron listen to this episode, or Aaron or Ron listen to this episode, because I loved that we did the vision boards.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I are so in sync with some shit. It's crazy. On a very personal note, I want to spend as much time as I can with you, as if we don't already.
So 27
5
hours a
Right.
day.
So I put on here a flight of beer, which is a reminder just to have fun.
Yeah.
Constantly have fun. I put on a woman holding her breast, and then said the skin deep, which has a double entendre meaning, which means lots of sex with you. And then, but it represents promotion opportunities and where our business could go. And the skin deep is just the start. And we're very grateful for them saying yes to us.
Mm-hmm.
And we love what they do. I had a picture of a guy on a mountain bike because I want to do more of that for myself, because I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a guitar and a microphone. I really want to at least perform twice next year.
Yeah.
Those are my medium goals, so to speak. If I could get a band together and have 2 shows, it would mean the world to me. I don't need to do what I did with my band years ago. After being in the studio today, it'd be fun to showcase some of those songs. Walking through the woods with you. So there's all this stuff with you. And then there's a picture of a baby, which means experience. And I have double entendres for everything.
Okay.
Have fun with my grandchildren and never forget to act like a child.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I have cairn. It's called CAIRN, which is stones stacked together.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
an indicator in a mountain where a turning point is, or it marks the trail. So that just is a reminder to, and then the word touch is there, which is a reminder to be outside, because that's a important thing for me. There's a record there, which record player means continue to listen to music. I found the word sing loud for what you believe in, which is a reminder for me to stand up for yourself, speak up, and have your voice, which career-wise means time to leave the job. We've acquiesced too long. And then I have a series of words on here, which I couldn't find images, but I had words. Breathe, relax, unplug, which is just a reminder that life is short, and make sure you enjoy it. Imagine its potential, which is to continue to be a creative force. Friends, eating mindfully, experience, thrive, and then conscious choices, rather. That's kind of like my vision board was much different. It was more thematic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I noticed when four of us shared ours. Mine was more, I want to make sure I'm living it right. It wasn't necessarily about a detailed thing aside from maybe mountain biking and music. So here's my near-term goals.
Okay.
My plan is to exercise 4 days a week. That's it, period. I got to exercise 4 days a week, and we're holding to that so far this year.
Yeah.
And so that's my short-term goals. I want to exercise. Next to that is I want to read a book a month. I want to get 12 books in my pocket.
Okay.
So those are two things that I started already. So that's cool. My medium or bigger goal is I want to plan for Portugal. I want to plan our 60th.
Yeah.
That's my biggest goal, is to somehow plan our 60th birthday party.
Okay.
Mine is in December. Yours is next March. So you're a year and plus months away. So that's my biggest thing. Like at the end of the year, I want to go, we've got Portugal planned.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to have it planned close to
You do.
by December.
For
right?
sure.
If we're going to do a May, June trip.
Right.
Got to kind of know what you're doing. And then my medium goals are kind of interesting. One is to perform in the band, as I mentioned already. And then I'm going to start to cry. I want to take quarterly trips with you. I've decided I want to do something per quarter. In fact, I asked you recently, you want to go visit your mom and dad in March? We talked about maybe go visiting Olivia in the summer. Fall would be a 14er. And then something for ourselves in December. But I'd like to have quarterly events with you of some sort.
Yeah.
If we invite other people, I'm cool with that. But those are my goals.
Yeah.
And if you notice, there's nothing about work in here. To me, we're going to make that happen. We're going to network more. Life is going to evolve for us. But I want to feel this year. Is that weird? Like if there's an overarching theme, I want to feel and I want to be present. Because I'm starting to feel that we're on, like I say, that Scott Galloway stole from us, the fucking prick. That we're on the back nine. And we're nearing the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And I see things through a different lens, you know? Do you feel that way? Am I being weird on you?
Not at all. We've talked about this. I think that's very human of us to have that perspective at our age. I think that's very normal.
Yeah.
To think that. And I think the wisdom of that, if people younger, like, don't you wish you would have had that insight and that wisdom when you were younger?
Aren't you amazed when you find young people who have this insight already?
Well, I feel like
Do you know who makes me feel they have this insight already?
our kids.
Our kids, Cam and Katie pop to mind.
Yeah.
So do Alex and Andrew.
Yeah.
They seem, I always say, God, I want to be you guys when I grow up. And
Right.
they're in their 20s.
Right. Right.
They seem to have a really soulful view on life.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's beautiful.
Well, and I also feel I've certainly said this to both my children, and I'm sure maybe you've said it to your children, that they have
Stop asking for
an
money.
insight
Oh, sorry.
into how do I want to say it? There's an introspection that I've heard both of my kids speak of and reflect on that I know at their age I did not have. And I'm in awe of that. I love it.
Yeah, I don't feel I gained introspection until I turned 40. Maybe.
I just last week I
will also
started-
say
yeah.
we weren't nearly as stressed as they were. Or maybe that's part of it.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I was stressed.
No, I wasn't. Fuck,
I was
I loved
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
I had a ball.
All right,
babe.
That was awesome.
That was great. I like
yeah.
that. We'll look back at this in a few months and see how we're doing.
Yeah. See how full of shit we were.
We're full of shit anyway. What the fuck are you talking about? Look at the camera. Okay, good.
Okay.
We have 4
So
boxes of
now
the Skin
time
Deep.
for the
We are
Skin
very
Deep-
excited because we are
Deep.
partners with the Skin Deep at this point. So if you go to skindeep.com/shit show, you will come to a page for us.
They do a fabulous
They
job
fucking
on
rock.
social
Love it.
media. So
I
it's
asked
really,
them
really
to
nice.
be part of our show, to be on our podcast. About how they started and everything else like that. So we're trying to work that out. Maybe
love it.
down the road.
I love it.
So we have 4 boxes. We have the amusing edition.
Yeah,
we
they have many boxes, many themed.
We just have 4. We have the healing edition, which is about when you cut yourself, what kind of Band-Aid do you use?
Yeah, right.
We have the couples edition, and then we have a couples edition long term. Where would you like me to draw from today?
let's do the black box. Let's do couples edition.
Couples edition it
Yeah.
is. Let me pull that out. Pick a card, any card, say when to stop, and I stopped. Give you the one on top.
Okay.
You first, me first. Who goes?
Oh boy.
Oh, is it a doozy?
Yes.
Oh, no.
How many people do you think I've slept with?
Oh, I know how many you've slept with. 75.
Not even close.
How many people do I think you've slept with? Do you want to answer this? Want me to answer this
I
question?
don't know if I know off the top of my head. I've
Slut
never
says what?
tallied.
Slut says what?
You're assuming it's a slut. You're making
acting
big
like,
assumptions.
oh God, there's so many. I don't know.
No,
I'm going to guess.
I've never pondered it.
I know of several. That sounds terrible. But we're 50 fucking 8 years old. What do you expect? So that one, that guy, I'd say 10. Do you like this question? Are you okay with this? You don't normally like answering these questions. You don't like answering
No, I
them to
don't.
the two of us. Are you going to?
Sure. I can only think of 7 in this moment.
Does that include me?
Yes.
Oh. In a row?
That's
you
a
get
line
that?
from a movie.
Did you get that?
Yes.
That was good.
But I feel like I'm forgetting some.
Oh my God. You trollop.
Yeah, right. So is this the point of the question? Like I get asked this question
then you get
then you
judged.
call me names
You get judged.
and judge me and
I had
vilify
10.
me.
I
I
had
get
10.
taken to the courtyard and stoned.
Stoned. I have 10 for you.
You had, that's probably right.
I have 10.
I don't know if I'd get past 2 hands, but maybe.
I think
don't
it
know.
might be.
And
but
how about
definitely
you,
10.
young man?
The question wasn't for me. The question was for you.
Ah, evasive.
Bam. So good. My question is, how many people do you think Cathy has slept with? Is that okay that you know what? I'm really proud of you because you don't like talking about this stuff publicly. And though, so everyone knows, we talk about this privately. We're very comfortable with talking about our lives. We understand that we met at 55 years old. So to think that we were some sort of chaste virgin Mary things is stupid.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah. And I think early on in our relationship as well, we kind of said we had a conversation that was like, here are my warts. Here are the things
What were we that day? Do you remember? Can you talk honestly about that? Do you remember how it came up? Yeah. Do you remember why we were able to talk about it?
Well, we were high
as fucking kites. And we said deep end of the pool. Remember we did that?
We had
went, hey,
probably half a gummy.
Maybe a tenth of one.
Because we're
we're
wimps.
so fucking weak. We're so bad.
But we had fun.
That was but that was one of the closest nights we've ever had because we were open and honest about partners, experiences, and
Yeah.
and hey, you got to take me for what I am at this stage of life, and
Yeah.
it was. Don't you think it was?
We were kind of ripping off our own Band-Aids and saying, "Look at this."
Yep.
What do you think? You still here? All right,
Yeah,
I got
but
another
wasn't that-
Band-Aid.
Don't you feel that that's why
Look
we're?
at that.
Don't you feel that's why we're closer?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we were both willing to be super vulnerable with each other and see what each other thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it easy to hear some stories when we were talking about it, or was it hard? I'm just curious now that we look back on it. And by the way, this is what the Skin Deep wants, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It creates
Right,
conversation.
exactly.
So I highly recommend you go buy boxes of the Skin Deep and put in shit show the promotion code. But anyway, keep going.
Please go through our add our
channel,
tag
yeah.
on there. You asked me.
Well, there's 2 questions.
What did you ask
Was it
me?
hard to share? Because there's a risk there that I could judge. And was it hard to hear?
I think that it was not hard to share because you made it easy
Oh,
to
I didn't
share.
expect that. Okay.
Yes. You are probably the first one to go, bleh, here's my crap, right? And
I
then I'm
told
like,
you when I
okay,
met you,
well, I have a little bit of crap too.
I told you when I
There
met
it
you that
is.
I always say this, and it's the one thing that I have, and if I fucking hear it on Pivot and Scott says it, I'm going to lose my shit.
You know that Scott Galloway listens and takes
Someone
all
on their
his
show
cues-
does, because if I
all
hear
his
them say
cues
this,
from you.
if I hear this, I'm the only common denominator in life, and if I want life to be different, I have to change me.
Right.
And so I figured with you, I just have to lay it out on the table. This is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I need someone that wants me for all of that. Not
Right.
just the good stuff.
Right.
For all that I am.
Right.
Because all that I am is good and not so good.
Right.
How did it feel hearing stories from me about the 700 people I had been with?
It felt fine. It really, really did,
Yeah.
because I felt I don't know. I always felt from the very beginning, from our very first date, that you and I had a very, very special, unique connection with each other.
Yeah.
And I feel confident in the truths that you tell me. And I felt confident that whatever the history in any other way, not that your history was bad or unusual or terrible or anything like that, I just felt that you were authentically present with me and have been since we've been together.
That's good shit.
So I don't feel threatened by the history.
I'm so glad you shared this shit on our podcast, because these are the types of things, the depth of us, that I've always wanted you to share. And I'm surprised, after all the questions we've asked, it's the first time something like this has come up.
It's probably the bourbon.
Oh, I'm digging it that it came up. Okay, let's go to my question then. Are you ready?
I am ready, and go.
Go. I should put on my glasses. That helps to read very small print. Here we go. What's a memory from your childhood? Do you like this one?
I don't know.
What's a memory from your childhood you most want to remember?
Most want to remember. Now, I have a photograph of this, but I also have a memory of it. You know how sometimes your childhood memories you think might be stamped in your memory because there's a photograph of it?
Yeah, okay.
So I do remember when my parents had
Sex.
their third child, my
Okay.
brother. And I do remember them bringing him home, waking up in the morning, and he was in the kitchen.
Oh, no way.
And I'm like, oh, and there is a
You were
photograph of that. Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing my brother for the first time, and I just laid eyes on that picture again, but I do remember the feeling of my baby brother being
No way.
brought to the house. Yeah.
And that's a memory you don't want to forget.
I don't want to forget that.
How
That was
cool is
cool.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
How about you?
That's not about me.
Oh, you don't
These
want to
are-
answer it anyway?
No, the
Does anything
questions are
pop
for
into mind?
you.
Okay.
If you want questions of me, you have to pull up a card that's a question about me. And that didn't happen this time. So we learned so much more
Sometimes
about
we
you.
go back and forth.
I know.
We can make it whatever we want. Because the idea is to open the conversation.
No, I
doesn't
think
mean
the idea
it's-
is to be one-way street.
Okay.
Favorite memory I don't want to forget? I have so many great memories. I never want to forget the fact that I had the lead role as Jesus Christ Superstar as Jesus Christ in Godspell.
Oh,
And I have an album of that, like literally an album of me singing,
that's so cool.
which I should try to get a record player.
Was that like your first taste of really being a part of music? Because you did not pick up the guitar until you were in your 30s.
Try again. Oh, you're right. Mid-30s, yes.
Mid-30s. And
Yeah.
you, I'm assuming, had no idea what a prolific songwriter you were, just how natural
Yeah.
you were with the language of music, like how
Yeah.
instinctual.
That was I had been in plays when I was in grammar school, but when I got to high school, I was an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I focused on that. And like anything, you're in school and there's jocks and weirdos.
You were a
and,
jock.
Yeah, I
You
was
were a
jock.
smart jock.
A smart jock with
You
big
weren't
junk.
a lughead
You know what I'm saying?
with big junk. Good Lord. I think that's a good point to end this podcast.
No, I don't think it
On
is at all.
Jack's big junk.
That's what everyone wanted to be. Say it. On Jack's big
That's
junk.
what she said.
By the way, Pam wrote us how bad she feels about. She wrote us in our Instagram how bad she feels for you with the Jack. That's what she says. Shit that you must deal with.
Because you've been doing that since high school?
I've been doing it forever. the play was a really big thing because I just wanted to be in the play, and then someone asked me to be the lead. And there was a guy that was much better singer, much better actor. But I remember the director saying that I had I didn't know what the word meant at the time. It was elan. There's an elan about you that when you're on the stage, it's hard to take eyes off of you at the time, which I didn't. I thought I was very comfortable on stage. Let's put it that way. Like,
you're very comfortable with the spotlight for sure.
Very. Like, it doesn't. I don't see it as that, right? It's only when I go back and watch it, I'm like, you look like an idiot. So I remember her saying that I just wanted to be in the chorus. Yeah. And maybe some side role. And then she said, I'd like you to be the lead role.
Jesus.
Yeah. And so took it on and kind of made it my own. And that's one thing I never want to forget. Yeah. From my childhood.
That's cool.
It was a transition time for me. It's believe it or not, it's from sophomore to junior in high school. And I was kind of nerdy, wore glasses. And then for this role, I couldn't wear glasses. I got contacts. My body went from 125 pounds to 175 pounds of muscle from football. Yep. And so if I were to say there's a moment in time I don't want to forget, it's that, because that's when my confidence soared. Yeah. That doesn't mean we all don't have moments where we, fall back into some self-doubt and stuff. Yeah. But that's something. Did that answer the question?
Absolutely.
You didn't want to know how many partners I was with. That's the weird thing.
You cannot even, you have no idea. You can't even keep track.
I can go through all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just kidding. This was a great episode. I love the new camera setup. I hope the new software works well. Every Thursday we'll push this mom out. Good luck with that editing, my love. It's going to be a biatch, as the saying goes. I love you tremendously.
I love you.
I'm looking forward to 20 and 25.
And beyond.
And beyond. On that note, peace.
You just listened to another episode of the Jack and Cathy Shit Show. All recording, engineering, and production provided by us. Connect with the podcast on Instagram at Jack and Cathy Shit Show for more insight into our shit show of a life. This episode is proudly brought to you by Pint Productions.
Point.